Welcome back to my channel, Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Sharon Stone is one of Hollywood's biggest stars. She's super smart and really cares about making good movies. She went from being just a pretty face to a serious actress who people take seriously. She was in famous movies like Basic Instinct and Casino, where she got nominated for an Oscar. Sharon never just showed up to work and did whatever people told her to do. She always wanted to make the best movies possible. People in Hollywood know Sharon is different from how she looks at fancy events. She works really hard on her acting, just like actors who went to special theater schools. She wants everyone she works with to try their best too. This has made some amazing movies, but it also made some of her co-stars mad because they couldn't keep up with how hard she worked. Sharon had fights with other actors, but not because she was mean or jealous. Her fights were about acting and making good art. She thought acting should be taken seriously. When we look at all the time Sharon fought with other actors, we see someone who never gave up on making great movies, even when she had to work with really famous people. These fights show us how hard it can be to make art when some people just want to make money from movies. Number 6 is Michael Douglas. When Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas made Basic Instinct together, they looked great on screen, but behind the scenes, they had lots of arguments. Michael was not just the main actor, but also the producer, so he was used to making all the decisions. But Sharon didn't want to just be a pretty face in his movie. The director, Paul Verhoeven, had to help them get along because they were both really strong personalities. Sharon brought lots of smart thinking to every scene, which sometimes made Michael upset because he was more worried about making money from the movie. The director told a magazine later that Sharon wanted to understand everything about her character, Catherine, while Michael just wanted to make sure people would want to see the movie. Their biggest fight was about the love scenes in the movie, where Sharon wanted to help decide how they should be done. People who worked on the movie remember Sharon and Michael having heated talks about why her character did certain things. Sharon wouldn't just act. She wanted to help create the character too. The camera guy said Sharon challenged what Michael thought about her character's mind. They disagreed about what the whole movie meant. Sharon thought it was about women having power, while Michael saw it as just a sexy thriller movie. Even though their fighting was tiring for everyone making the movie, it actually made the film better than most movies like it. Sharon said something really direct about working with Michael. She said, "Working with someone who thinks being in charge is the same as being artistic teaches you the difference between having power and being right." This shows how Sharon felt about their whole experience working together. Number 5 is Sylvester Stallone. When Sharon Stone worked with Sylvester Stallone in The Specialist, people thought they would be great together, but they had completely different ways of acting. Sharon came to work ready with lots of background stories for her character, Mae Monroe, while Stallone liked to just go with his gut feeling, which worked for him in Rocky and Rambo movies. The director, Luis Llosa, was stuck between two actors who worked in totally different ways. Sharon would spend hours talking about why her character felt certain things and what emotions meant, while Stallone just wanted to focus on the action parts and doing his own stunts. The director told a magazine years later that they were speaking completely different creative languages when they tried to work together. Sharon's fancy acting training made her want to really understand her character deeply, but Stallone's way of just making things up as he went along messed up Sharon's careful planning. The worst fights happened during the romantic scenes, where Sharon needed real emotions, but Stallone just wanted to get the scene done quickly so they could film the explosions and action parts. The person who kept track of the script remembered Sharon asking questions about every single line, wanting to understand the psychology behind it, while Stallone just wanted to say his lines right and move on to the exciting parts. Their different ways of working created problems every day that affected everyone working on the movie. Sharon got really frustrated with how Stallone didn't seem to care much about developing his character. The costume designer remembered Sharon worrying about working with actors who just phone in their performances instead of really becoming their characters. This experience made Sharon believe even more that great acting needs everyone to be totally committed. She said later that respecting acting means showing up prepared, not just showing up. This was her way of talking about working with people she called uncommitted collaborators. Number 4 is Billy Baldwin. The sexy thriller Sliver needed the main actors to really trust each other and be vulnerable, but Sharon Stone and Billy Baldwin working together became a warning about what happens when actors aren't equally committed. Sharon approached her complicated character, Carly Norris, with her usual intense preparation, while Billy seemed happy to just use his natural charm without really developing his character. The director, Philip Noyce, saw how they didn't work well together and later told a magazine that Sharon needed someone who could match how much emotion she put into scenes, but Billy often seemed more worried about how he looked than how well he acted. Since the movie had intimate scenes, the actors needed to be willing to explore uncomfortable psychological territory, but Billy didn't want to try Sharon's suggestions for scene work. Their worst arguments happened during practice sessions for the parts of the movie about voyeurism and thriller elements. Sharon insisted on understanding her character's psychological journey through each revelation, while Billy questioned why they needed such detailed preparation. The person who designed the sets remembered Sharon trying to get Billy to analyze their characters together, but he clearly found it boring and unnecessary. The tension affected how they looked together on screen, with Sharon struggling to find real emotional connections with someone she thought was unprofessional. The script consultant noted that Sharon's frustration with Billy's work ethic started affecting her own performance, forcing her to change how she prepared to work with his more casual approach. This made the whole movie suffer because of their incompatibility. Number 3 is Robert De Niro. When Sharon Stone and Robert De Niro worked together in Martin Scorsese's Casino, it was like watching two method acting legends with totally different ways of doing their craft crash into each other. Sharon's way of preparing involved lots of research and creating character backstories, while De Niro's more intuitive approach relied on discovering things spontaneously while filming. Scorsese found himself carefully managing what he later described to a film magazine as their creative differences in achieving truthful performance. Sharon would come to work with notebooks full of character analysis for Ginger McKenna, while De Niro preferred to find his character Ace Rothstein through improvisation and gut reactions to what happened in scenes. Their opposite methods created unexpected tension between two actors known for being committed to authenticity. The conflict showed up most clearly during their domestic scenes, where Sharon's detailed emotional preparation clashed with De Niro's preference for discovering moments organically. The associate producer remembered Sharon wanting to discuss the psychological reasons behind every argument between Ginger and Ace, while Bob wanted to just let the cameras roll and see what happened naturally when they weren't planning it. Their different approaches to building character relationships created friction that went beyond individual scenes. Sharon believed in creating detailed emotional histories between characters, while De Niro trusted that authentic moments would come up through repetition and experimentation. The script supervisor noted that their practice sessions often felt more like negotiations than working together to prepare for scenes. Number 2 is Leonardo DiCaprio. The Western The Quick and the Dead brought Sharon Stone together with a young Leonardo DiCaprio, creating an unexpected clash between established Hollywood authority and rising star casualness. Sharon was both the star and producer and expected the same level of preparation and professionalism she demanded from experienced actors. While the 20-year-old DiCaprio approached the project with the relaxed confidence of his generation, director Sam Raimi watched their generational approach differences with fascination, later telling a magazine that Sharon treated every scene like it was Shakespeare, while Leo had this natural, effortless quality that didn't require her level of intensive preparation. Sharon's careful character work for Ellen was very different from DiCaprio's instinctive approach to his gunslinger role. The tension became obvious during rehearsals, where Sharon expected detailed character development discussions. DiCaprio found these discussions unnecessary. The assistant director remembered Sharon trying to get Leo into deep conversations about his character's psychological motivations, while he seemed more interested in perfecting his quick draw techniques. Their different work ethics created a mentor-student dynamic that DiCaprio didn't particularly welcome. Sharon's frustration with DiCaprio's casual attitude toward the rehearsal process became something cast members talked about. The costume designer remembered Sharon expressing concern about young actors who hadn't yet learned to earn respect through dedication to craft rather than relying only on natural talent. This shows how Sharon felt that young actors needed to work harder to prove themselves instead of just depending on being naturally good at acting. She believed that real respect came from hard work and dedication. Number 1 is James Woods. Sharon Stone's work with James Woods across multiple projects created a unique dynamic between two of Hollywood's most intellectually powerful personalities. Both actors had razor-sharp intelligence and strong opinions about their craft, but their similar intensity created competitive friction rather than working together in harmony. Their work together became legendary for what producers privately called their chess match of egos. Auxiliary Woods, known for his rapid-fire delivery and intense preparation, met his match in Stone's equally fierce commitment to character development. A producer noted that watching Sharon and James work together was like observing two brilliant minds constantly trying to outsmart each other instead of serving the material. The intellectual sparring extended beyond character interpretation to script analysis, where both actors would arrive with detailed notes. The script coordinator remembered Sharon and James turning every table read into a graduate-level seminar on dramatic theory, often losing sight of the actual story being told. Their debates about motivation and subtext could derail entire rehearsal sessions. Their similar temperaments created an exhausting dynamic for directors who found themselves mediating between two uncompromising artistic visions that neither would give up on. The cinematographer observed that both Sharon and James needed to be the smartest person in the room, which made collaboration nearly impossible despite their obvious mutual respect. Sharon Stone's uncompromising artistic vision created cinema's most memorable conflicts, proving great art emerges from creative friction. Subscribe for more Hollywood battles and behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite stars.